Hey everyone, and welcome to another figurine review. Today I'm going to be looking at the Ichiban Kuji Yu-Gi-Oh! Masterlise figurines. Now, for those unfamiliar of what Ichiban Kuji is, basically it's a merchandise lottery sort of system where you go to convenience stores or other sort of like anime stores and things like that, and you buy a ticket. Usually they're like 500 to 800 yen, which is usually like 10 or so, $5 to $10 or thereabouts, depending on your currency conversion. You can also buy those overseas. The tickets are obviously more expensive because of importing costs and all that. But basically, you buy a ticket valued at a certain amount, you peel the ticket off, and it will reveal a letter. And those letters indicate the prize that you get. The higher prizes, so typically A, B, C, D, things like figurines or more sought after merchandise, and then the lower letters are things like keychains, rubber straps, towels, things like that. All lower, not as cool prizes and things like that, but you're always guaranteed a prize. There's more of the low prizes than high prizes, and basically it's a real life gacha type system. And there's also something called a last prize, which is given out right at the end of the Kuji if you've bought it out. Now, this is a Yu-Gi-Oh! Anniversary Kuji that I saw online one day, and seeing as I didn't have a Kaiba, Yugi, or Blue Eyes White Dragon, I thought it would be pretty cool to get those, especially because the figures looked really, really cool. So I bought these from Yahoo Auctions, and they just recently arrived. So I thought, why not unbox them and review them? So yeah, these are still prize figures, so there would be issues with them, but typically when it is an Ichiban Kuji prize, typically there is a little more effort put into them. So a few paint errors and things like that are a little more of an issue, whereas a regular claw game prize figure, it's not so much of a deal breaker or anything like that. But anyway, I've waffled on enough. Let's get right into it, and I think I'll start with Blue Eyes White Dragon. Okay, and now I've opened up the Blue Eyes White Dragon, and you can see it is looking very cool. The figure's not too much bigger than the box, it's just about the same sort of dimensions. The wingspan does add quite a bit to that, but you can see the really amazing shading and detail work, the sort of two tones of the whitish blue, the beautiful sort of paintwork on the wings. It's a really nice shade. The eyes look really good. Paintwork on the teeth and the mouth looks fantastic. I love this sort of smoky plume effect that's coming off of the base. When it decides to focus, there we go. Yeah, this sort of effect that's coming off the base. It would have been nice if the base was the same color, but you know, I'll take what I can get. And yeah, it's just some really, really beautiful sculpt work. I really like the glossy finish. See, there's a couple little marks on the wings, but it's in the back, it doesn't really matter. But I hope that this is coming through. How you can see that it's a much higher quality than a regular prize figure, and this is sort of like the recommended angle that you display it at, which is cool because it sort of apes the original Blue Eyes card a bit, where you see the face from the side, because the Blue Eyes' face isn't so iconic from the front, it's more that design from the side. And yeah, that looks really cool. Now, that was an easy one to set up and everything like that. Kaiba and Yugi are going to be considerably harder, and you'll probably see why in the unboxing, depending on if I cut it or not. But we'll quickly get to that. I think I'll start with Yugi. Now, just before I go any further with this review, just wanted to stop it here at this stone tablet. It looks so cool. It's very accurate to the show. It's just a really nice little thing. On the back there's nothing, but don't really need to worry about that. But yeah, that's just cool. Some of the details will be lost when the figure is fully assembled, so I just wanted to focus on that for a bit, and that's really cool. Same as, really quickly, the Yugi himself. Ooh. And just seeing, so they have fully detailed his back, and looks really nice because the back will be lost once this figure is fully assembled. So yeah, that looks really nice. Okay, now that took a little bit, and I know a lot of it was off camera, but that is the Yami Yugi all set up. It's nice that his name's on his base, so I don't forget. But this was really cool. So basically you get all these acrylic cards and these little acrylic pegs to stick on them, and they let you display the cards sort of coming out of the stone and add a really nice angled effect. So it gives the figure some really beautiful depth, and it's really cool. And it's nice that we've got some really iconic cards. So we've got Magician of Black Chaos, Dark Magician Girl, Slifer the Sky Dragon, Dark Magician. I don't know that card, don't know that spell, but Blackluster Soldier. It's really nice, and I'm glad that I showed the stone tablet before, because you can see that it is mostly lost in this design, because it is quite a busy design, but it is very cool. One complaint I would have with this, I don't think this stone here is really the right texture. It's very, very glossy and looks very plasticky, but otherwise looks really nice. Go in for a little bit of a closer look at Yugi. It's looking pretty damn good. Like, definitely not the best Yugi I've ever seen, but in terms of the general style of this entire figure, it's really nice. His eyes are pretty well detailed. His hair looks nice, cards are good, money and puzzles there. His jewel disc is looking nice. And yeah, and I really like the detail on the cards. So they've just done the bare minimum, but that's fine, because that's how they appear in the show. You don't really need the name or the flavor text or anything like that. You can see it's actually sort of blurred out, which is kind of cool. And it's also nice that they did all different card sizes, so it definitely gives it a sense of depth. So yeah, that's really cool. And then last but not least is Kaiba. So we'll see how he turned out. So now I've set up all the cards, and before I attach them to Kaiba, I'll just quickly go through them. I don't remember all their names exactly because it's been quite a while, but I'll try my best. So obviously Blue Eyes White Dragon, looking cool. Obelisk the Tormentor, also looking very cool. Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon. There's, I think it was XYZ Dragon Cannon. Ooh, when it focuses, XYZ Dragon Cannon. I think that one's Vorse Raider. And the trap card, I think it's Ring of Destruction. Or something like that. And yeah, that looks really nice, and so we'll attach it to Kaiba. Now, before attaching the back to Kaiba, I'll just quickly show him off, especially at his back. As you can see, it's really nicely ruffled, some cool silver detail and things like that on his jacket. Yeah, it's very high gloss, so it gives off a bit of a leather feel, so that's nice. And yeah, it's looking good. Now, just like Yugi, let's quickly have a good look at Kaiba. As you can see, he's got a bit of a sort of like, I don't know what you'd call that expression. Sort of look like from here, looks like he's sort of standard-ish, scowlish face, but it almost looks like a little bit of a smirk, like this. Just have a look at the official box. The official box has it more like a smirk, but the figure here wouldn't really call it a smirk. It's more like a line, but still really cool. You can see same effect of the cards flying out, gives a really nice depth to the figure. It's really nice. It's a really great display piece for something just front on. It looks really good. I think they really, like, concept wise, this is pretty freaking amazing. You can see his jewel disc, how he's holding his cards, how he's holding his main card in his hand. Oop, and I just dropped one of the cards. Got it back. Yeah. So you can see the nice details. He's got a little Kaiba corp on his belt, and this is accurate to his Battle City arc design, which I think is his most iconic design, same as Yugi's, even though Yugi's didn't change nearly as much. But yeah, it's nice. It's a fairly dynamic pose. It's a good standard pose, and it looks like Kaiba. And yeah, he's just really rock solid. Same thing with the Yugi. Don't really like how glossy the stone that they're standing on is. But other than that, this is a fantastic figure. The figures aren't that big, all things considered. They are a little smaller than I'd think they'd be. Not all that... I don't know what would be a good measurement of size, because I don't really have much on hand, but I'll go and grab something. So it's probably not the best judge of size, but next to a master grade Gundam, you can see that these figures aren't particularly large. I know it's a little unfair seeing as the master grade Gundam's flying, but it gives you a little bit of an idea of how big they are. But I am kind of happy with this size because I wanted to include my Pop-Up Parade Dark Magician Girl in the display. So I wanted to have sort of Blue Eyes White Dragon and Kaiba and Yugi and Dark Magician Girl all together and make a sort of bookend-ish design. Let me just see if I can get them set up. So I was thinking of having something like that on the shelf. I think it looks nice. The Dark Magician Girl is a little bit bigger than you'd think. So they're probably just a little bit smaller than Pop-Up Parades, but thanks to the base and background designs, they fit pretty well together. So yeah, they do work pretty well. I'll probably put like my Millennium Puzzle in the middle on a shelf. But yeah, it's a nice little Yu-Gi-Oh! Display set. So if you were wondering how they sort of fit with Pop-Up Parades, not too bad. They're probably just a little bit smaller, but if you are summoning monsters and things like that, I think it's perfectly fine if there's a little bit of discrepancy in the sizes. So I'll quickly just show you a little bit closer the size difference between Yugi and Dark Magician Girl. You can see it's probably like a scale smaller because of how Yugi's arms and his face are in terms of like thinness compared to Dark Magician Girl. But generally, I don't think it really matters all that much. So yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about these. Really solid figures, really cool. I love the display style. And they're pretty much the sort of quintessential figure in like a Yu-Gi-Oh collection, I'd say, that doesn't take up a lot of space, because there are some great expensive scale figures out there. I just really liked the sort of diorama display style of the cards. It's sort of like everything you want in a figure, because it embodies the character just right, and it's also the most iconic designs. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope you enjoyed that video, and I'll see you all next time.